Hi everybody, I'm Becky Morris. I'm the director of DCN and I'm here to talk to you today about strategies to support neurodivergent people uh, in the lockdown and post-lockdown world. Just to give you a bit of my background, I've worked with neurodivergent adults for the past 10 years. I represent a couple of organisations in respect to that. And also I'm very much about embedding inclusive practice within the workforce, service provision and working practice of the cultural sector, which is what DCN is. And we're very excited because recently we have created a partnership with our friends at Embed to provide cross-sector training and support for inclusive practice across all sectors, and in particular the heritage sector. So today, this is what we're going to talk about. First of all, it's going to be about strategies. So all of that collective tips and advice that I've sort of learnt and shared over the past 10 years about general stuff such as organisation and time management. This is all really practical, very low cost, things that you can try whilst we're in this time. And also about things that can actually cause a trigger in respect to a positive trigger when you're out shopping. So you're able to say, actually, that could be useful for me. I'll get one of those. Or actually, that could be really useful if I get tired. I'll get one of those. Just to plant those seeds to support you in managing neurodiversity and also your neurodivergent profile. But the best bit of all, it's not about it's not about managing, it's how you manage, but also bringing out all of that good stuff, all the strengths, all the creative problem solving. So you've got things covered at home and you can really sort of share your talent with the world. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at the time management side of things, and we're also going to be looking at practical tips. So this is the day and this is the running order. We should be about half an hour. We're looking at the kitchen. We're looking at supporting working memory, your time management and general tips. So the first things first, I'm dyspraxic. I am somebody who has had this or known to have had it since they were 23. Obviously you are born with it, but it all came apparent just 2 weeks before my finals. And I have always been considered strategies in regards to supporting other people, but there is one thing about me that I need to tell you, in that I do not live in a perfectly organised house. What I do is I keep it manageable. What I also do is I don't prescribe what you should be doing. So I won't tell you as though I'm serving it up like a plate of chips, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. This is more about what you could do or things to try, because I'm always looking at things, particularly when it comes to handles and time management tools. Is there anything else that can help? Is there anything else like a scanner or something like that that can help me in keeping more organized to support my working memory? So this is what I'm talking about. This is actually quite tidy for me. This is actually reasonably tidy in terms of my kitchen. I am known to, particularly when I'm tired, just goes everywhere. But I enjoy cooking. It's great for stress relief. So, hey, we'll have a tidy up. Jobs are good, and you would never know. So, in terms of at the moment, particularly that shopping is not so bad now in comparison to where it was about 2 months ago. One key thing is, though, is remembering what you have, so you don't end up with about 10 jars of tahini but only one of pesto. And also about what you need so it doesn't go out of date, because first of all it's wasting food, but also it's wasting money at the bottom line of that. So the first thing I look at, first of all, with cupboards is that they're general themed. So this is what I'm talking about. So these are my cupboards, and yes, I've had to tidy up, but as you can see, all the heavy stuff is at the bottom. So it's easy to reach. It doesn't, if it falls out, it drops at a shorter distance. Also, it's pretty clear on where everything is. So you can see we've got all the cans, we've got all the fruit and the jars in the middle, and we've also got various kind of oils at the top. And then the cupboard on the right, we've also got the pasta. We've got stuff in jars such as different flours. We've got things like the bicarb in the little jars at the middle, and also extras at the top. So it's about not keeping things in a rigid process. It's actually about making things quite fluid, but very general. So you've got an idea of where everything lives. Put the smaller stuff at the front, obviously. What I tend to use as well is things like this. So the one on the right is just a clear kilner jar that you can pick up, or just grab something that you may have for smaller items like a standard jam jar, things like that. Just make sure it's really dry so you don't get any mold or anything like that. So use a jam jar. I use jam jars all the time for spice mixes and things. Make sure it's labelled on the front. Some people don't like labelling their jars, but unless it's pretty obvious, like risotto, then it's going to be a bit tricky to remember what exactly is what. But the key thing is as well, is remembering the best before date. So what I tend to do is also put when the date is on the jar as well. It's because I don't know about you, but when it comes to actually where we are in the year, what you think is a couple of weeks is actually a whole month. And it can soon escape you that your ingredient that you've had for months, that you had ages on, now is slowly going out of date. Another thing is tins and storage items. Make them colourful, make them bright, make them representational in terms of pictures, artwork, anything like that. Try not to get them the same unless they've got the label on front. Sounds crazy, but it's one of those things where the brighter they are, the easier they are to track and remember visually. So I tend to buy these types of tins for things like baking goods, any kind of sweets, things like that. And I just put them all in this really colourful tin, but I won't remember what's in the tin, but I remember using my visual memory what the tin looks like, so it's easier to remember where it is in the kitchen. All of my cupboard doors look the same, and everything looks very, very similar in my kitchen. So I have to have these visuals to support where the location of items are. In a previous kitchen, you could just open up the cupboard and see everything directly. I don't get that anymore. So this is where this is coming from. Another thing I tend to do is look at things like bag clips. Bag clips are fantastic for everything and everything, which I know you know, but one of the things that I find as well is that if you're all under each other's feet at the moment, if you knock something over with your elbow, if there's a bag clip on it, it's not going to go everywhere and you're not going to waste food. Another thing I find as well is that they're so useful for things like freezing items, things like kids' toys, anything like that is so useful. These come from IKEA, and others you can get them from Poundland. So what I would say to that as well, just keep them together in a plastic box or anything like that, so they're all together, and then you can just pick them up as and when you need them. You don't have to rush about. So with regards to things like other elements of storage and equipment, the key thing is with equipment is, are there particular elements of your dyspraxia that can make you anxious? So for example, the item on the right is a mango cutter. Now mangoes are gorgeous, they're really juicy, they're very easy to use, but they're very tricky to cut, primarily because of size, but also in regards to that juiciness, they can slip. So one of the things that I do is I've looked this out, and it's something that I've got. And what it is, it's like an apple corer, where you just press down on your weight and you keep your hands and your fingers away, and you press down on it and it just literally cuts your mango in half. That was about a £5. If you don't have anything like that to hand, or you don't have the budget, get a fork and literally put it into the mango and cut it like you would, like that, just to help you steady it, like that. And particularly if you've got like one of those larger forks, not for roast, not for cutting roast dinner, but actually like a larger serving fork, that can help with that as well. Nothing too sharp, just in case it slips. The salad mixer on the left is actually just something that I found. You could use a jam jar, but this is actually, it's really cool because it spins round and it can mix it by itself. And then you've got the container just to pour it out. It looks really cool, but it was only about a £5 as well. And the key thing is with these things is that they're not for, it's like they're really great pieces of equipment. You can just wash them up, job's good, like that. So you're not having to think about any other bits, people under your feet. It's all done. The pathway is clear. These are another couple of things as well. So, for example, the egg timer is for hard-boiled eggs. And all you do is you just put the eggs in, you lower the basket into the hot water, and then what happens is that you leave the egg timer. It will change colour to how you want your eggs, and then you just take it out with a fork or a blunt knife, anything like that. They're brilliant, in particularly if you need to make anything like sandwiches or any kind of egg salad or anything like that, because you're not having to fish them out of boiling water. It's there, done, dusted. So try that one. These in particular are thick handled items. These are great when it comes to fine motor coordination. They're worth looking out because I've seen these on the increase, particularly within supermarkets and other retailers, because they're so much more easier to grip, particularly on things like ice cream, like this one here, things like zesters. They're really useful for people with arthritis, but also if you have any kind of fine motor coordination difficulties. They are incredibly useful for that. It's worth shopping around as well, because sometimes they can be quite a range of prices, but keep a lookout in the sales, but also look out in the supermarkets where they can be a little more affordable. In terms of supporting working memory, this is a really key element because it's such a common trait for dyslexic people, and particularly people with dyspraxia as well, in regards to the whole spectrum. So with regards to that, there are some key tools that you can have within your kitchen, and these are ones that I've come across myself and they've really made a difference, and I use these every single day. So on the right is a calendar, a linear calendar as it's known, and it's your traditional one that you probably get for Christmas. Now, without stating the obvious, there's one key thing about it, and that is if your working memory is quite poor, what can you do to remember appointments, also who's doing what, anything that needs to be eaten by, done by, deadlines. The calendar on the left will support you in exactly that. So you've got names, or your business, or your deadlines, or your food. They can all go in the top section, just there, just under April and May. And then you've got the whole list of your day, including the weekend, with a shopping list and things to do. Now, the key thing is with this as well, there's a folder at the back. So anything important and any phone numbers you need can all be collected together at the back, with any loose paperwork, pizza menus, or anything like that, all at the back, so you can get it very easily. These are brilliant. because what you find is that if your days are different in any way, you can still record it. So if, where's Becky today? Ah, it's 2 o'clock. She's gone to the shop. It's our weekly shop. Right. What's on the shopping list on the right hand side? What things do we have to do this week? Right. First of all, this is happening, that is happening. It's all on that list. And that list in turn is perforated, so you can just tear it out. These are more expensive than your linear calendars on the right, but they're more useful, particularly if you are worried that you're going to miss anything. But most importantly of all, they help you keep track because you've got that visual cue on the wall and also on your phone. So you really feel, hey, I've got this covered. Have we updated it on the calendar? Grab a post-it, stick it on there. Right, let's do this, like that. What I would say with anything like this, keep a tub of pens in the kitchen. Just a nice tub. Get the kids, get anybody, decorate it yourself, get a bit crafty like that, and just put a pile of pens in a tub and keep them near your calendar with a block of post-its. So if anything happens and you need to remember something quick, or you're not sure what day it's on, just put it on a post-it, stick it on the actual calendar itself. And that, I find, is such a useful tool. And it'll be so important, particularly when kids start potentially going back to school, whenever that is, when there may be key information that comes through. You can put it all on the calendar and you can change it week by week. So they should be on sale in the next couple of months. If you can't wait that long, it's worth seeing if you can get one on the used section, so people that have got one and not used it. What I would say as well, there are others that are called family organisers. Just check how big the boxes are, because some of them are very small. So just check that, and if that fits your lifestyle, great. If it's too little for you, these ones are from Box Clever Press, and you can get them online. You can roughly work out at about, I believe it's about £20, but they're worth the investment. If you're not sure, get one for your birthday or get one for Christmas. I get one on my Christmas list every year. I want a calendar. Another thing that you'll notice as well is that we've got a whiteboard. Now, this is magnetic. So any important letters, any important menus, any kind of phone numbers, get straight on the board or put via a magnet. They're great. If you go anywhere at some point, obviously, you can put your magnet on there, and they're so key if any information is changing, any vouchers. You've got all of that collective space on a board, so you can put all your information on there and any what you need to's on there, and have them correspond with your calendar as well, so you can find things in a coordinated way. So if there's a letter that needs to be sent on the Wednesday, have it on the board with your magnet so you can deliver it for Wednesday. Make it easy for yourself. Another thing I tend to do as well is that when it comes to recipes, at the moment we're all trying different things. I've got loads of recipes on soda bread and biscuits where you don't need that many eggs and all things like that. What I'm doing just to sort of help the environment is putting them all in an A4 folder, so you've got them all together like that. But also, if there's anything about them, maybe they're too spicy or they need a bit of an extra ingredient, say spring onions in your soda bread, then you've got something already together in your little A4 binder. I bought this because I love stationery and I don't have to have many excuses to buy nice stationery. So this is quite useful. You can get the same kick out of an A4 binder though, and like I say, if you like your craft, craft it up, make it all nice, and just literally put everything together so it's easier to find for yourself. And if you want to write them out, fine. If not, just literally, as in the majority of all the others, cut them out with a bit of Pritt stick, job's good, and that's it. In terms of finding things, I don't know about you, but often with finding things, that's when you get most anxious. Where is it? What have I done with it? Where is it gone? Where do I start looking? One of the key elements of this is actually just to take a breath and use that visual memory, if that is your strength, to actually say to yourself, right, where was I last? What was I doing? When was the last time that I saw it? Because at least then that draws it down to a particular room. When did I last remember using it? And just drawing it down to a particular event, because that in itself will give you clues on retrieval of the item. But another thing as well, because a lot of our children are being homeschooled at the moment, this is about how we can manage all that information, all that paperwork, pens, pencils, all kinds of things. What you can do is go online, and there's a lot of patterns for making your own boxes. Now, what I would say is obviously adhere to any safety instructions for using things like cereal packets or any kind of packaging. Do what you need to in regards to making sure that you feel safe. But the key thing is with this is that you can also use any card lying around at home. And I've just made these little boxes to keep everything together in drawers. But also, if your kids are often being homeschooled, stick them in a tray so they've got things that they can get to. Takeaway containers are another one. Like I say, adhere to what keeps you safe, makes you feel safe. Stick them through the dishwasher, all things like that, to make sure that they're all nice and clean, and perfect excuse to get a takeaway. But the key thing is it keeps everything all together, so you're not having to hunt round for stuff if the kids need to do an important project. So this is just using a simple net from the internet, just download and print it, sticking it on some cardboard, and then making it into a little box that I now keep my paper fasteners in. This is another one, just literally using half a cereal box, if you can get your hands on one. And that in itself just creates a little tray just to put stuff in. So it could be anything from paper clips, pencils, rulers, protractors, whatever. And it's just all put together, so you're not having to keep trying to find stuff and getting that anxiety out. Another thing I keep an eye out for is little jars. So just keep some jars aside for things like paper clips, map pins. I just find it just so much easier without having to put your hand in a load of like an empty container and realise that you've got some pins sticking in you. Also, these are treasury tags, which are more successful than paper clips. You just put a hole punch in and thread them through. They're really handy for documents if you've got more than 50 pages, and it stops them from all coming apart. So well worth the investment. They're called treasury tags if you're not familiar with them. And like I say, with anything like this, as long as they're easy to find and easy to see the contents of, you're onto a winner. In terms of time management, this is a really key strategy that is specifically focused on any kind of project that you may be involved in now and in the future. Also, it's a way of assessing what your current capacity is and your resources that you have. But thirdly, it's a way to actually really feel how much time you have realistically to commit to any task or any kind of extra work, so you don't feel overwhelmed. So with time management, the first thing to consider is, do you have any analog clocks in the house. This is an analog clock. It's incredibly important for anybody with neurodiversity, because what we often find is that digital clocks are very difficult to support any kind of working backwards in regards to time and time availability. So how much time do you exactly need to be out of the house? With analog clocks, because they're visual, they're more of a visual prompt, in particular to working out how much time you have, also how much time you've got remaining, and also being able to plan your time effectively in getting ready, traveling time, and also any preparation work that you need to do. So what we tend to do is have a clock in the kitchen, have a clock in the workplace, just like this one. Also, if you have a clock in the study, if you have a study, or in the dining room or in the lounge, all useful. Try and have, I think we've got a clock pretty much in every single room, just to give that idea of time, particularly when getting ready, but also particularly when it comes to where the day is. You know, 5 minutes ago it was 1 o'clock. What do you mean it's 2:30? You get where I'm coming from. So what we're going to do is look at, first of all, planning your time as in days and months, and then looking at Pacific time in terms of actual time itself, so 15 minutes, half an hour, that kind of thing. In terms of time in days and months, you will need a yearly calendar that you can get via Google. Just Google it and get a printable version. You need to think about what you're going to do, and this could be anything from building a website to cooking a meal to planning a webinar, anything you want to do, tidying a room. And what do you need? If you are into mind mapping is a great opportunity here with Post-its. If you want to use a bullet journal, whatever suits your means, whatever you want to do. And also you need your analog clock. This is just a calendar that you can print off for free. All you do is just Google it. And what I particularly like about this one is that it reveals the bank holidays. Make sure that you pick up the UK version if you live in the UK, US version for obvious reasons. But the key thing is with this one, it's got all the weekends color coded and it's got all the bank holidays on it. So if there's any bank holidays coming up, you can score them off immediately. Any weekends coming up, obviously, score them off. They also detract from your time that you actually have. They're absolutely key. So what you would do is look at your activity as follows. So you need to identify what the activity will be, such as, say, tidying a room. You need to identify, as I just said, any bank holidays, any leave, any contingency time or other tasks which may be in collision with this particular activity. And what you need to do is you need to cross those out on your calendar. And then you've got what your true time is. Then what you need to think about is, on your activity, what are you wanting to do? So also consider things about, do you feel tired at the moment? Do you need a break? Do you want to do some other activities first before this one? Are they reliant on any other factors? And what do you need? Do you need to order anything online in regards to this? So you need to bring that all together, all of your tasks, roughly how long that's likely to take, and then how long will it take to get any items online. And then with that chunk of time that you've got from marking out your bank holidays and your annual leave and etc., then you've got your true time. You need to implicate that. Now, What do I mean by implicate that? That means if it's going to take you, say, a week to tidy a room, is it better to do it during the half term? When will the next half term be? If you want to decorate the kitchen, when is the minimalist time of disruption for you in painting the kitchen? What do you need? Can you get any paint? How much paintbrushes have you got? What's the situation with the current paint that you have? How long, what are you planning to actually paint? Is it going to take longer to prep? So look at that and then compare it to your calendar and say, actually, this could be something that we can do in 2 Saturdays' time. Or could we do it next Wednesday because I've got some leave and I'm going to get bored. So I'm going to look for everything on that Wednesday and I can do all the prep on the weekend before. And I can order some paint through checks the previous week. So I'll know then whether or not I need to order any paint. And if I do, they'll give me plenty of time to do that on the Wednesday. So literally as this is, it makes you feel about planning ahead, that you've got this at the end of the day. You know, I can do this. I've taken care of everything. I've looked at the risk. I've looked at what I've got. I've looked at the capacity of my time. I've got this in relation to painting the kitchen or tidying a room, doing the gardening. I can actually look at this and know that I've done the very best I can to think about all things considered with the right time to use my energy so I don't get fatigued, but also that I feel accomplished that I've done it like that. And the best bit is you can use these strategies in the workplace. In terms of actual time itself, often some neurodivergent people can struggle with getting out the house on time. And often that is because of various factors. There can be disruptions that can create some difficulties, but also sometimes it's about actually measuring that amount in getting out the house. So one of the difficulties I used to have was how long would it take for me to travel to somewhere? Nowadays, I check that and then put it into my time frame, which is up on the screen. So I've got an idea of when I need to leave the house, but also how long it takes for me to get ready. So say we've got an event time here, which is on the slide, which is 3 o'clock. And you know it's going to take you about half an hour, 30 minutes to travel to your event or to your appointment. Now, the only thing is that as with everything, we start with the good intentions, but we end up being late because of roadworks, because of various diversions, for all kinds of reasons. So what we do is we give ourselves 10 minutes for just in case, a bit of contingency time. So then we have to say to ourselves, right, that's the actual travel time we've allowed ourselves, which is 40 minutes. We then look at getting ready. So getting ready, making sure you look good and getting yourself out the house. That's going to be about 20 minutes. If you need longer, just add extra like that. Give yourself about 20 minutes. So that means you need to start getting ready at 5 past 2, sorry. So you need to get ready at 5 past 2. And then you need to be out of the house and ready so you can get to your event at 3 p.m. There you go. So, in terms of general tips, first of all, consider, when do you feel the most energized? Are you a morning person? Do you work better at night? Are you somebody who can actually work better under your own steam? Don't worry too much that I have got to be there and sort this out for 9 o'clock. particularly at the moment, if you think to yourself, actually, I'm having a real day of it, consider what light tasks you can do and then move to the heavier stuff the next day. If you've got any problems in regards to your energy and everything, particularly at the moment, consider what sort of activities can you do. Things like baking, things like cooking that feel constructive, but are not, like I say, the really heavy going stuff. You know, be kind to yourself. Also, look at other situations as well. So try and break activities down into manageable tasks, particularly if they collide with other commitments or other activities, such as homeschooling, so you can retain some of your energy. So really spread them out into bite-sized tasks if you can. Just consider that. If it doesn't work for you, that's fine, but just sort of think about it to help you manage your energy levels, but also in regards to feeling that you've done something constructive, because you don't want to be laying awake at night thinking, I've got this to do, I've got that to do. Consider writing it down as a to-do list and then literally breaking them down and tick them off. Always remember to tick them off. And at the moment, particularly at weekends, what can we do? So if you are thinking about a hobby, but you're not sure about it, you're thinking, oh, I don't know if that's my thing, try it out. But think about what your strengths are. Are you good creatively? Are you somebody who likes to research things? Do you like to learn new skills? YouTube is a blessing in regards to trying out different things. If you're left-handed like me and you want to do crochet, you know, you can do left-handed crochet on YouTube. And just give it a try. If it's not for you, then just leave it like that, you know. But consider what you like to do and what your strengths are as a person. If you're not sure what your strengths are, think about the things that you enjoy the most, because often that is something that you are generally, that is a strength. So, like, again, research. Are you interested in history? Do you like to listen to audiobooks? Consider all different kinds of things at the moment to try out, and don't hold back by the fear that you might not be able to do it. You won't know until you've done it and just sort of given it a try. And that is it. Thank you very much for listening to me today. I really do appreciate your time. Keep well, stay safe, and I hope I really get the opportunity to meet some of you very soon. Bye.